Hello everyone, I'm Matt Owens coming from the Learning and Outreach Center. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. I have a subject today I want to talk about that I'm very passionate about. We deal with a lot of recovering addicts, alcoholics, those wrapped up in sin. We do that here at the Learning and Outreach Center because we were all there one time before. I know what changed all of us, and I know what can change you as well. Daily, I deal with someone who's struggling. Not necessarily non-Christians I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who have been converted to Jesus, to follow Jesus, who have been born again. The devil still attacks them. So I want to give a lesson today about what can one do? How do I change our life where we can live good, productive lives in the kingdom? Good lives that make us feel worthy because we're just doing good. Turn to Colossians chapter 3 today. We deal with a lot of people who are wrapped up in formerly into drugs, and that pull still comes on them. The world's pulling on them, friends, ex-friends, new friends, neighbors. They're getting high. They're getting drunk. They're trying to have sex with someone that's not their husband or wife. That's the world we live in nowadays, and it's tough. If you've been in the stuff that I've been in the past, then you know what I'm talking about. So I thought today, what verse could I use, or what section, a passage, could I use to try to help us get our mind on the right track, to protect us from the evil one, that pull that we have to go back and do whatever drug of our choice was. People saying, hey, going to come hang out? We know that's code word for let's go get high. The people who aren't Christians, they would love to bring you back into the state that all of us once were in before. But I want to give you some words of encouragement today. Colossians chapter 1. Since then you have been raised with Christ. Set your hearts on things above. See, when our hearts are on what's going on in the world, we can't have our hearts set on things above. Where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Verse 2, key verse. Set your minds on things above, not on earthly things. That's what caused me to fall away for all those years, to leave God, because my mind was set on earthly things, not on spiritual things, not on heavenly things. For you died. If you've been born again, you died to that old lifestyle. And your life is now hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, appears, then you will also appear with him in glory. Watch verse 5. Put to death, therefore, whatever, anything, everything that belongs to the earthly nature. Well, the Apostle Paul wrote this to the church at Colossae. So we might say, well, Paul, what belongs to the earthly nature? He gives us the answer. Watch. Sexual immorality, top of the list. That's having sex with anyone who is not your husband or your wife. Impurity, just anything that's not pure. Lust, yeah, lust is out there. Evil desires, to go get high, to go get drunk, all these things. Greed, which is idolatry. A lot of times Christians don't preach against greed, but it's right there in the list with lust, evil desires, sexual immorality. Why? Because your love for money will take the place of your love for God. Because of these, verse 6, Colossians 3:6, the wrath of God is coming. You used to walk in these ways in the life you once lived. But now, you must also rid yourselves of all such things as these. What, Paul? anger, rage, malice, slander, and filthy language. We've got to watch what comes out of our mouth. It's what he said, not Matt. I'm reading the verse. And filthy language from your lips. He says, do not lie to each other, since you've taken off your old self with its practices and have put on the new self. If you've never been born again, then you haven't put on the new self. That's why you're struggling through life to make it. The devil gets a hold of us, and he's taken us captive to do his will. But when Jesus frees us from sin, frees us from guilt, frees us from Satan, then we put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. You say, wow. So Matt, if I'm going to get rid of this earthly nature stuff that's going on, the drugs, the pull, all the stuff going on around me, how am I going to do it? Paul answers it. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. Whatever is earthly thing, be careful there. On heavenly thoughts. It's a battle between good and evil, spiritual and fleshly, physical versus spiritual. When you become spiritual minded, the fleshly pull, it's not quite as hard, is it? Romans chapter 12. I like this verse a lot. A lot of times Christians, they can't figure out what is worship. They think it's just singing, it's this and that. Hang on a second. Let's notice what the Apostle Paul said in the letter to the Romans. Romans chapter 12. Verse 1 says, therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in the view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. What? I've got to give my body, my whole body and being to the Lord every day. And then I can walk in the light as he is in the light. 1 John 1, 5 through verse about 10 there. But you know what? If I will offer my body as a living sacrifice, so to speak, and I don't, as the next verse says, don't conform to the pattern of this world, but I've been transformed by the renewing of my mind, I'll be walking in a new life, a new light. I'll be putting away the old person. That's how you've got to move forward as a Christian. Otherwise, if you stay stagnant, just kind of barely making it, getting along, it's kind of like floating in a river. The river's always flowing. If you're not moving forward, you're going backwards. A lake, you can sit still, but a river, no. Christianity is the same way. If you start sitting still, if you're standing still, you'll be going backwards soon. We don't want to go 3 steps forward and 4 back. We want to go 3 steps forward and stay 3 steps forward. Christianity is a growth. It's not like a rocket ship that goes straight up, because it may come straight down. We got to just continue to grow. How? Offer our bodies, our minds, to serve him daily. It'll work. I promise you it'll work. It worked for me, and it can work for you. But as we always say, don't trust me. Don't trust any man. Read these scriptures for yourself. Look them up. Check them out. See if what I'm telling you and reading you today is not the truth. And if it's the truth, then you need to hold on to it. I'm Matt Owens, and I just want to tell you, I love you, and God loves you. Thank you.